Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge and see how these particular phones hold up in 2025. Now, there are a couple of different things to keep in mind here within these types of phones. Number one, these are very interesting devices to say the least. When these phones first came out, they were very, very important phones and they definitely brought a lot of stuff to the table. But with that being said, there's probably some other devices that I would recommend buying more so than these ones. And, I think these things are still good. I think they still have some capability within them, but there are some better advantages and some better devices to go and buy. So we'll take a look at that throughout this whole entire video. First things first though, if you do want to go ahead and pick up these particular devices, links will be down in the description below. You can get them from there. I'll probably leave some better iPhones or, Androids link down below. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of the Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge. This is one of those phones that originally came out back in the day, just a little bit of time ago, back in 2016. And this was a very interesting phone because it was an upgrade coming from the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge, and I really actually did like this phone a lot. I like this phone a lot more than the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge because I feel like that was a really kind of weird thing that Samsung decided to do there. I feel like it was a good phone, but they took out so many things. With this one, they at least added back the microSD card slot, which was actually a really nice thing for them to do. So I do think genuinely from that side, that was a really cool thing, just that right in and of itself. So again, maybe it's not the most perfect device of all time, but at least it's giving you like a pretty good experience when it comes down to its display. The display itself is still 1440p, which is actually pretty crazy. It's a curved display, but also it's giving you a little bit of bezel on the top and the bottom, which isn't too bad, but I can see how it can be kind of annoying for some people. You're getting the home button in the center, the capacitive buttons around it too, and I definitely will tell you, it is still like a very good looking device to say the least. I think if you're going to go through and pick up a phone, at least back in 2016, this was a very unique type of design, and I do think for the most part, the front side of this phone is very interesting. Like I really do like the way this particular phone kind of looks like from that particular side. So I will tell you from that particular situation, that's kind of one of the first things I kind of recommend thinking about for the most part. But again, it isn't really like the worst thing in the world, but that right there is one of those big things and big key areas to kind of keep in mind there when it comes down to it. Now, on top of that, another very important thing to keep in mind there too is the fact that on the bottom, you are basically getting a microSD card slot inside of these phones, which I think is really nice. I love having microSD card slots, and you're essentially going to be getting that here inside of this type of device as well. So again, it's not the biggest deal in the world, but that is going to be another one of those minor things to keep in mind there as well. Now, another one of those things to keep in mind is that you are getting that microSD cards, in and of itself. That right there is a really nice thing to basically have. And I'm personally like a very big fan of that. I love having a microSD card, and you're going to be able to get that inside of this phone. You're getting a glass bag on the back side of this phone too, which is really nice. You're getting a single camera setup, wireless charging inside of this phone, and overall, it's a pretty interesting looking phone to say the least. This is one of those types of devices that, you can go and pick up and, it still feels like a pretty premium phone, but obviously it's a little bit of an outdated type of design. Most phones don't really look like this anymore, so it doesn't really make a lot of sense to go and buy this type of device anymore. But, I guess from a design perspective, it still has some things going for it, if you really want to go there. Now, another really important thing to kind of keep in mind here is that the price tag of this phone has gone down significantly. This thing costs substantially less than originally what it cost for. So you can save a bunch of money if you go and buy this phone. But should you actually go and buy this phone, that's kind of the big kind of thing to think about here. Now, when it comes down to the camera, this is another one of those really big things to keep in mind here too. This phone is going to be giving you a single 12 megapixel camera on the backside. Then it's also going to be going through and giving you a standard type of 5 megapixel camera on the front. So nothing super insane, nothing we haven't already seen before, but it is going to be one of those types of devices where you can go and kind of pick up and still get like a decent experience with for like a 2016 phone. But for any type of device, it really just doesn't make a lot of sense to go through and buy any type of phone like this anymore. These types of phones are pretty old. They're a little bit, outdated when it comes down to it. So I would hate for you to go ahead and buy a phone like this if it's already even kind of outdated with software. So this one in and of itself, it genuinely just doesn't make really a lot of sense to go and buy. So that's kind of what I think about in that particular situation. There are definitely a lot more phones to go and buy rather than these ones. So kind of keep that in mind. And I feel like at the end of the day, if you are about to go through and pick up some sort of a device, this camera really isn't that great. Yes, you can do 4K on the back, but it's really not that great of a phone. It's not that great of a camera anymore. And I think that's just one of those big things to kind of keep in mind there from that particular side as well. So from that particular situation, from the camera side, that kind of covers it up there too. Now, on top of that, when it basically comes down to its, software and longevity, this is another one of those really big things to keep in mind here as well. This device is already outdated with software. But not only that, it's been outdated with software for so many years now. This thing is outdated for software, I feel like longer than it even got software support as of this point. So that is a very big thing to keep in mind here. That in and of itself is the main reason why this type of phone isn't really worth buying anymore. It just doesn't make any sense because it's already significantly outdated. So because of that, there are better phones you can buy out there that are better than these things. I feel like buying a phone like a, Samsung Galaxy S21 or even S22 would give you a way better experience than this thing. Like this thing is stuck in this situation where it's just not really going to be giving you too much. So I feel like from that side, that's a really big thing. But even from the battery life and the stability standpoint, this phone is just not going to be giving you a good experience whatsoever. It's going to be outdated. It's going to be glitchy. It's going to be weird. It's just not going to be that great of a phone. And I would, again, hate for you to go and buy this phone if that's kind of what you're expecting. A big thing though is even with the performance. This phone's giving you the Snapdragon 820 chipset with 4 gigabytes of RAM. That's not really that good amount of a RAM to have inside of a device, right? You'd probably want a faster, better performing phone, and this thing just isn't really going to be giving you that. So that right there, again, is another really important key takeaway, because why would you want to go ahead and buy this phone if it's already going to be giving you somewhat of like a lackluster experience by the time you buy it? So yes, this phone can do like basic things, like it can open up certain applications and give you a good experience here and there, and I'm sure it'll be fine for the most part. But beyond that, it's not really going to be giving you anything else like super insane. And especially for if you're going to go and buy a phone, what would be the point of even buying this type of device? There are significantly better devices to go and buy rather than this thing. So I think that is one of the bigger key takeaways here. It's like, again, why would you want to go ahead and buy a phone like this if there's already going to be better devices out there for you? So that's kind of one of those things that I would kind of keep in mind in the back of my head. It's like the Galaxy S7 Edge, I think, was a really cool phone. I think it brought a lot of cool stuff to the table, and it was a really cool idea. They don't really make any like Edge type of phones anymore, not even for their Ultras, but I really do feel like there are way better phones you can buy rather than this thing. It just doesn't really make a lot of sense to go and buy these types of phones anymore when there are significantly better devices to go and pick up. I feel like phones like the Samsung Galaxy, S21 are going to be better than this thing. The Galaxy S22, S23, those types of devices are going to be giving you a way better experience rather than this thing. So that's kind of how I see it. That's kind of what I feel. And that's basically how I see this particular phone holding up for that particular situation. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out, till then.